What is up, awesome people of the internet? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another edition of Quita in the Mornings, because my name is Quita. We are in the mornings and we are talking about some women's hoops. On deck today, I got a slightly new template. What do y'all think about it? The background still is in works for getting changed. But anyway, we are going to be talking about three different things today. We're going to talk about Dominique Malonga and where in the world is she. We're going to talk about Kylee signing with Ohio State. And we're going to finish up talking about some WNBA training camp news. Okay, so I hope y'all are interested in that. Because we about to get going. We about to get going with what is happening in the world of women's sports. And we begin with Dominique Malonga. So the question is that everyone is asking. The question is, where is Dominique Malonga? Dominique Malonga made history before she even stepped on a basketball court. She's 19 years old, about to be 20 in November. She was born in Cameroon, raised in France, and in April, a couple days ago, actually like a week or so ago, the Seattle Storm selected Dominique Malonga with the number 2 pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, right behind Paige Bueckers. That wasn't just the headline right there. It was also the fact that she is the first French woman ever to be taken this high in the WNBA draft. But training camp started on Sunday, and Seattle had its vets there. They had their rookies there. They had all the hype. But Dominique Malonga was not there. So, what happened? Where is Dominique Malonga? Well, the short answer to that is she's still overseas. She's still in Europe. She just finished her overseas play with ASVEL Lyon. It's a French club that's backed by Tony Parker, so fun fact. Anyway, that season just ended. It literally just ended. And under WNBA rules, Dominique is allowed some breathing room before she comes over to the United States to play for Seattle. She was here for the WNBA draft, left back out to go back to Europe. Now she will eventually come back to the United States to be with the Seattle Storm. She's under 3 years of experience in the WNBA because, of course, she's going to be a rookie, which means that the league's prioritization rule does not apply to her. So that prioritization rule is only for players who have 3 years or more experience in the WNBA. So while people are asking about what's going on, the Seattle Storm are calm about it. Here's the deal. She did sign her rookie contract. She is in constant communication with the Seattle Storm. And according to Noelle Quinn, they will be getting an update sometime this week about when exactly Dominique Malonga is coming to the Seattle Storm to actually get ready for the start of the season. But first, there may be some people who are like, okay, I kind of get what you're saying, but who in the world is Dominique Malonga? Well, I assume at this point y'all probably know who she is, but if you don't, let me just remind you about who she is. Dominique Malonga is fantastic. All right? She is someone who has been doing work overseas for a while now. She's a 6'6" player. She has a 7-foot wingspan. She is a fluid, athletic big who kind of moves like a guard, dunks with ease, and defends. At just 18, she became the first woman to ever dunk in a French pro game, in a women's French pro game, which was pretty cool. And the thing about it, and the thing about her dunks in particular, is that they're just easy. Like it just occurs in the flow of the game. All right, it occurs in the flow of the game, and she gets a lot of comparison to Victor Wembanyama because she's a very tall player, and she's French. So, you got that in tow. They're both very lanky type players, and she's not a big who kind of posts up. She can post up, but that's not her bag. She's not just gonna post up and hope that she can get an entry pass. No, she's someone who runs the floor. She switches on screen. She's someone who can facilitate. You can kind of think of her as like someone who kind of has like a Sylvia Fowles build, but has the versatility and fluidity in the post and around the perimeter like a Jonquel Jones or a Brianna Stewart. So it's just sort of think about that. Sylvia Fowles frame, but Jonquel Jones and Brianna Stewart in terms of like how they can go from in the paint straight to 3-point line, straight to mid range. They kind of do a little bit of everything on the court. And also, just remember this, guys. She is just a teenager. Last summer, Dominique Malonga played for the French national team in the Olympics. And that was the year that France ended up getting the silver medal. Now, Dominique Malonga didn't play a huge role in the Olympics at all. But I think just her presence there, just her being there, I think it's just some really good experience for her, especially as a younger type player. So, again, guys, I just want to remind you all of the hold up, all right? So, the hold up, as I said earlier, is that Dominique Malonga just wrapped up playoffs overseas. Now, her overseas season is now over, but there is a very short gap between overseas play and WNBA training camp. That season just ended right before WNBA training camp began. And while the WNBA's prioritization rule forces veteran players to show up on time or face fines or have to sit out for that year, Dominique Malonga is exempt for now. She's taken the time to rest, recover, and transition, and she's hanging out at basketball games. I did see a video of her recently at a basketball game overseas. And here's the deal. Let's be honest, guys. Dominique Malonga is smart. This is a player who has been playing nonstop for months. All right? You got Euro Cup, you got the French League, you had the Olympics, so much stuff that she was doing all while trying to develop her game. So she just needed a little bit of break. And again, she is in contact, or at least her people are in contact with Noelle Quinn, and they're providing her some updates. So as of right now, we don't have an exact timeline for when Dominique Malonga will be on this team, but lots of positives. She did sign her rookie contract. There is no sign of conflict. There is no drama. There is no holdout. This is ultimately just the reality of international basketball colliding with the WNBA, a league that is still trying to figure out how to make room for international stars. Yes, the WNBA has that prioritization rule, but as I said before, it does not affect players like a Dominique Malonga. So, what will we have to look forward to once we see Dominique Malonga hit the court for the Seattle Storm? I think we're going to see some fantastic play, right? I think we're going to see Dominique Malonga connect with the post players who are already on Seattle, right? You got Ezzy McMagor, who I think in a lot of ways is a huge future for this Seattle Storm team. You also have the vet in Nneka Ogwumike. You have Lee Rue. So it's gonna be a really good lineup of bigs, power forwards, and centers for Seattle this upcoming year. And Seattle's excited about it. They are very much excited about it. And I'm interested to ultimately see what happens. Okay. Molly says, then why show up at the draft? Because she wanted to. Here's the deal. International players do this all the time. Sayuka just did this, right? Showed up to the draft, get all dressed up and get all excited and blah, 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 blah. And then you go back overseas. You may come back to the US that season. You may not, right? This is not a different thing. Like, this is pretty normal, where every single year we see players get drafted to almost every year. We see international players get drafted. Sometimes they're there at draft day, and then they proceed to go back overseas. And sometimes they come right back for that season. Sometimes they don't come back for a while. And there's a player that I'm going to talk about in just a bit that is an example of that, of a player who got drafted, all excited, but then proceeded to not play in the WNBA for 3 seasons. So, like, it's a thing. It's a thing. Now, it won't be a thing for Dominique Malonga because Malonga is someone who, like, seems to want to play now with the Seattle Storm. She just needs a little bit of a break right now. So, yeah. So her fit is going to be great with Ezi Magmagor. I think it's going to be a really fun pairing between those two. And the reason why I'm pairing those two is because they're very young players, and I see Nneka Ogwumike more as like a mentor to the next generation of Seattle Storm bigs, which in my opinion is both Ezi and Dominique. All right. Now I think it's gonna be very, very fun. Very, very, very fun front court for the Seattle Storm. Now let's take a look at the bigger picture. All right, the bigger picture that this brings up that I want to talk about is that Dominique Malonga is not just another rookie. She represents the future of the WNBA, which is a more global form of basketball. This is what happens when the international talent pipeline collides with a WNBA that's finally starting to open its doors a little bit wider to the international scene. This brings up a much needed conversation about prioritization. Now, a lot of the veterans, especially ones who are international in nature, a lot of them do not like prioritization. They don't like it because it forces them to get back by training camp, or else they end up having to miss out on the season. Now, again, that's not the case for rookies, but when you have several rookies, when you have several rookies that are drafted in the first round and none of them are with their teams right now practicing, it seems a little weird, right? Not only will you have players get cut from the draft, you also have players who get drafted very, very high who are not here. Now, for Dominique Malonga, she will be here soon. But for some of the other rookies, we may not see them for another year or two. And it's odd, and it just seems strange that, players get drafted very high, and then they're just like no-shows. And I get it. It makes a lot of sense. It absolutely makes a lot of sense. But it's still a thing. It's still a thing that is not great, because when you look at the international leagues, you got EuroLeague, Euro Cup, you got the Chinese Women's League, you got the WNBA in Australia, and a whole bunch more other leagues. And all of them basically run until late March, and early April, which does not give players a lot of time to come back and get ready to go. Now, players make it work. However, these younger players, they don't have to, because there is no thing around prioritization when it comes to drafting players. This is like a thing where teams are just trying to draft and stash in some instances, right? And again, this is not a specific thing with Dominique Malonga, but it just brings up this point, and I just wanted to talk about it because this is a thing. Yeah, Henry is right. Leonie Fibich, she was drafted a long time ago, and it took a while for her to come over to the WNBA. Now, again, understandable. She wanted to prioritize what she was doing over in Europe. She was developing a crazy amount over in Europe, and so when she came to the U.S., she was ready to go. And we know that, like, international players, it does make sense for them to wait, because we look at a player like a Shyla Hill, who was drafted by the Chicago Sky early a couple years ago, and she ended up not being able to make it in the WNBA. She wound up getting cut her rookie season because she just didn't have like the pro skills just yet. Now, that could have been one of those situations where it may have made sense for her to get drafted, get all excited, and then go back to Australia and continue to work for 1 to 2 years and then come to the WNBA. Like, so it does make sense for some players to get drafted and go somewhere else. But from a from a league standpoint, from a narrative standpoint, it's not good. Because you have players who are named on draft night, you don't know who they are, and you may never see them again. And so it's just like, it's a limitation on excitement. And maybe there's an opportunity for the WNBA to kind of rethink this, still have international players get drafted, but maybe there's another draft that's specifically for international players that don't play in American colleges. Like, I think that's a possibility that the WNBA may want to consider. Thank you so much, Sharice, for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate your support. Yeah, I think that's something that the league really does have to think about, you know? W. Bazil says, this exposes the train of thought that the U.S. can just throw together a team to go play internationally. Europe has some talent. Europe does have a lot of talent. Yeah. Yeah. Europe does have some talent. Tisha says, I don't mind them prioritizing overseas, but there are too many ready and willing in the U.S. that want to be drafted. Yeah, that part. Yeah. I agree. Clark says draft and stash needs to be done away with. They should enter the draft when they want to come over. It takes away spots from people who can play now. Yeah, but here's the deal. Like, draft and stash also makes a ton of sense for teams. You have a talent like a Dominique Malonga, you know, why would you wait? Why would you wait for a couple of years to draft her? No, you want to be the person who locks her up, because once you draft the person, you have their rights. You have the rights to them. And so that's a thing. Jay says NBA players come straight over, though. Yeah, because, again, it's a prioritization thing. The NBA, they're paying players so much money that European players are going to be like, okay, let me go over to the U.S. and play immediately in the NBA. Whereas the WNBA, the salaries are not that crazy where it makes sense to sort of like quickly go over there. I mean, for some people it does, and some people it doesn't. Like, I think there's more of a negotiation, more of a thinking, more thinking that players have to do before actually coming over to the U.S. for the WNBA, whereas you're getting paid millions for the NBA, and so it's a lot easier to make that decision. You'd be like, you know what? Yes, I'm going to play for the NBA, like, right away. That makes sense. Whereas in the WNBA, you know, the amounts of money that you're getting is not that much. Well, you know, in comparison to what you're making over in Europe, and so and even in Australia, so it's like, you know, you kind of have to think about it a little bit more, right? Kind of have to think about it. So that's a thing that I just wanted to mention. So in conclusion, Dominique Malonga has not arrived yet. She will be arriving. We don't know the exact date, but she is in communication with the Seattle Storm. And when she touches down, it's going to be really cool to ultimately see her suit up for the Seattle Storm. She probably will miss Seattle's. She'll probably miss their preseason game that they have coming up. But it's gonna be fun to watch her play for the Storm whenever she actually arrives. But this starts a larger conversation, in my opinion, when it comes to prioritization in draft picks and what that means going forward, and whether or not it's a good or bad look to draft and stash. Though in this particular case, this is not the case of draft and stash. It's just draft and stash is a thing for international players. All right, let's continue on. Okay, so let's actually talk. Let's switch gears real quick. And let's talk about Ohio State. The Ohio State. So Ohio State, they have lost some talent, and they are looking to rebuild. They lost their front court, including their most talented player their leader, I should say, in Cody McMahon. And they have added in some new talent via the transfer portal. They added in 6'4" redshirt freshman Kylee out of Florida. First, I want to talk about Kylee, who she is, and why I think she may be an important piece in Kevin McGuff's next chapter. So, Kylee Kitts, she is the sister of Chloe Kitts. Now, of course, that last name sounds familiar. Yeah, Chloe Kitts, the same Chloe Kitts from South Carolina. When Kylee entered the transfer portal, there were some people who were like, Kylee to South Carolina, it just makes sense. It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense specifically for South Carolina to compete for a championship next year. So I was like, okay, I think Kylie's going somewhere else. She's not going to South Carolina. It turns out that she is going to Ohio State. All right, I think this is a really good move for her because Kylee is not living in her sister's shadow. She is someone who came out of high school, who was, she was a top 25 recruit coming out of high school, but she was in the class of 2025, but she decided to reclassify and join the Florida Gators early. She didn't suit up last season. She redshirted her freshman season, which means she does have 4 full seasons to play for Ohio State. Now in high school, she's really good. This was someone who can get you a double-double just about every single night. She was someone who was a blocking storm at times. And then she decided to pick a college. She went to high school in Florida, decided to go to Florida, and we didn't really see anything of her last year because, of course, she was redshirted. But she is a hybrid 4 who can do a little bit of everything on the floor. Now, she chose Ohio State because Ohio State is just completely rebuilding. And Kylee likely is going to have a lot of opportunities to play and make an impact. This is a team that lost Cody McMahon, who transferred to Ole Miss. They lost Taylor Theory because she just timed out and was eligible to get drafted. Asia Petty, same thing. Asia Petty is she signed with the Minnesota Lynx, and so that's the thing. But all these players are gone, right? That's a lot of minutes. That's some size that's kind of walked out the door for Ohio State, and now you bring in a 6'4" Kylee Kitts in the transfer portal who can make some serious strides with this team. And also it just helps that she did take that redshirt year. So while she didn't play at Florida, she was training, she kind of got in the groove of what exactly it means to be a college basketball player. She took some visits when she decided to transfer. She took some visits to some programs, but made the decision to land in Columbus. This is a team that likes to play up-tempo. They like to press a little bit. They like to play some serious defense. And Kevin McGuff is going to give Kylee some good minutes. And here's the thing. I know Kylee from what her high school game showed us. Now, how did she fare in college? I don't know. But in high school, she was very good. She was someone who could play both offense and defense, someone who's very versatile, someone who had length, someone who had some good basketball IQ. But again, how exactly she fares at Ohio State, not sure yet because we haven't seen her play just yet. But from high school, it seems to be a good fit there. We'll ultimately see what happens from here. Now she is not the only. She's not the only player who decided to go to Ohio State. Ohio State actually a couple of days ago picked up another transfer as well. So we have Tiana Todd, who has transferred to Ohio State. She comes from Boston College. This is someone who is a Canadian, actually. She's from Ontario, Canada. And she went to Boston College this past season, and she was one of the many players at Boston College who entered the transfer portal. They had a massive exodus at Boston College. This past season, she averaged 13.7 points a game, and she shot around 43% from the field for Tiana Todd. She is a 6 foot guard. Kylee is 6'4". Tiana is 6 foot. All right, I think these are two good pickups for Ohio State. Tiana has one more season left of college eligibility, and so I think it should be really good to see her play for Ohio State. I thought she had a really big season this past season with Boston College, and we'll see what she's able to do in the Big Ten. Okay? All right. So those are the pickups. I just wanted to mention those real quick. And next up, let's quickly talk about the Dallas Wings. All right? The Dallas Wings. We are continuing in our series where we are going through who is on the list for the training camps for the various teams. We're going through each team. We're going through each player on these teams, and I hope this is of interest to you all. We've gone down the series. We're doing it in alphabetical order. So we did the Atlanta Dream, did the Chicago Sky, did the Connecticut Sun. Now we are on the Dallas Wings. Okay. So the Dallas Wings are looking to rebuild. This is a team that keeps their star in Enrique Gumbawale. She's a two-time All-Star game MVP. Like, she is someone who can light it up, literally light up the court with her crazy shooting. They turn the page on their roster with Dejanay Carrington, Alyssa Smith, and Paige Beckers. And they have a really awesome set of young talent that are battling it out for the final 12 roster spots. This is a new squad. This is probably going to be a very, very interesting, possibly down to the wire training camp in terms of cuts. But I'm going to tell you this, man. This is going to be very, very exciting to see the Dallas Wings play. And this could be the start of something huge for Dallas. Now, let's actually dive in real quick to take a look at the big picture of the Dallas Wings. So this is a team that last year in 2024 went 9-31. That means 9 wins, 31 losses, the second worst in the league. And because of that, they had to clean house. Clean house 2025. This is a team that brought in a brand new head coach in Chris Koklanis. He comes from the Lindsey Gottlieb tree over at USC. They also add in GM Kurt Miller, who was a head coach and GM before. He was with the Connecticut Sun and then was with the Los Angeles Sparks. Now is a GM only with the Dallas Wings. This is actually the first time that the Dallas Wings have offered this GM position to be filled, and so this is awesome. And this is a team that is going in a new direction. They needed to get Enrique Gumbawale at point guard, and they got it in Paige Beckers. And this is going to allow this team to play faster, smarter, and hopefully win way more games than just 9. Because, this is a team that's trying to build a foundation. And that means that there's some tough cuts that are coming our way. This is a team that brought 18 players into training camp. And of that 18, there are some players who are an automatic lock. So the locks, as I see it, barring anything crazy, these are players who, not all of them are on guaranteed contracts, but most of them are on guaranteed contracts. You have, of course, Paige Beckers, the 6-foot point guard, was the number 1 pick in this year's draft. This is someone who is a polished guard when it comes to the college game. At least she has elite shooting. She has great court vision. She has the poise for the moment. And she just won a championship with Connecticut. So she is flying high. And then you have Enrique Gumbawale, your best player, the bucket getter herself. She's a 5'8" shooting guard who can just get shots up at whim, like at will. Like, she can do whatever she wants. Last year, she averaged 22 points a game and 5 assists for the Dallas Wings. And she is looking to be her great self and not have to feel like she has to carry the team as she has in the past. We also have Dejanay Carrington on this squad as well. She's a 5'11" small forward. This is someone who was a huge pickup for the Dallas Wings. When you talk about Dejanay Carrington, you talk about the fact that she can play defense for days. She's a hard-nosed defender. She brings a lot of energy to that wing position. She's coming off a breakout year with the Connecticut Sun, and her presence is going to give this team a defensive backbone. Last year, Dallas was terrible at defense. This year, They're going to be a lot better in part because of Dejanay Carrington. Last year for the Connecticut Sun, Dejanay averaged 12.7 points a game and 5 rebounds. Next up, we have NaLyssa Smith. NaLyssa Smith comes to the Dallas Wings via a trade from the Indiana Fever. She's a 6'4" power forward. The former number 2 pick out of Indiana is trying to find her footing again. The last 2 seasons, I would say, has been this past season for sure has been a disappointment for her in terms of just her ability to make an impact. Her rookie year was a really good year for her. Her sophomore year was also pretty good, but then this past season there was it wasn't as great, I would say, for her. Last season she averaged 10.6 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, and just ultimately she needed to get out of Indiana. Now she's out of Indiana. We'll ultimately see what she does this season with the Dallas Wings. Next up, we have Tierra McCowan, who continues on with this Dallas Wings squad. She is a returner for the squad. One of the kind of few returners. There's a lot of new people in training camp this year for the Dallas Wings. Last season, this is someone who averaged, again, she's 6'7" center. Last season, she averaged 11.7 points a game and around 8 rebounds a game as well. All right, next up, let's talk about Maddie Siegrist, because when I tell you, last year, my favorite player out of Dallas was Maddie Siegrist. I think Maddie Siegrist was someone who had a huge unlock last season. She's a 6'2" forward who is just a stretch option at that forward position if they want to play her that way. She is someone who can score in bunches. She had some flashes of greatness last season. And she averaged around 9.4 points a game, shot around 50% shooting from the field. She also is someone who did start a bit. I'm excited to ultimately see what Maddie Siegrist can do. I thought she played great last year. I'm excited to see her continue to develop and grow. Some of these young players, man, sometimes it might not all click their rookie season, but the following seasons they can make some stuff happen. So Maddie Siegrist, I'm excited. I think she's going to flourish into a fantastic WNBA player. All right, next up, let's talk about Myisha Hines-Allen. She is a 6'1" power forward out of Minnesota. She played for Minnesota last season, and she is with the Dallas Wings. She's a proven vet who can score and can make an impact anywhere on the court. She adds a whole bunch of muscle to this team. Last season she averaged 7.8 points a game for Minnesota. So that's 7 players that are locks, in my opinion. Now, y'all, we can talk about the Ty Harris thing, because I think she's in, but I don't think she's a lock like these other players are locks, right? So let's talk about the other 5 players who are vying for a spot. So who are the other 5 players? So we have Ty Harris. So Ty Harris is a steady, proven point guard. Here's the deal. The reason why I don't have her as a lock is because, 1, she's not on the guaranteed contract. 2, I think Mai Yamamoto is, her biggest competition. I do think Ty is better than Mai Yamamoto. However, it's just, I think Ty is going to have to compete. It's not a given. It's not a given, in my opinion, for Ty Harris to make this team, even though I think it's very likely that she will make this team. This is a 5'10" point guard. This is someone who was actually drafted in 2020 by the Dallas Wings. Ultimately, she was traded to the Connecticut Sun in 2023. Now she is back with the Dallas Wings. All right. We also have Mai Yamamoto on this team as well. She's a 5'5", very, very undersized point guard. She plays for the Toyota Antelopes, who is playing some WNBA teams this preseason. This is someone who is a really good 3x3 player. She helped Japan get the gold medal in the FIBA 3x3 U23 team. I think she's a fun player. Now, again, do I actually think she makes this roster? No, I don't. I don't think she makes this roster. I ultimately think Ty Harris is going to get that backup point guard spot. However, it's going to be a competition. It's going to be a competition, that's for sure. All right. Next up, we have Isaiah James, the number 12 overall pick in the WNBA draft for 2025. She is a combo type guard. She is someone who can knock down shots left and right. She's someone who can get to the basket. She can do a little bit of everything. Last season for NC State, she averaged around 12 points a game. She's likely going to make the roster. I think she's likely going to make the roster. We'll see. But I think she's going to be a really fun player for years to come in the WNBA. Next up, we have JJ Kennerly from West Virginia. JJ Kennerly is a defensive juggernaut. I'm telling you, if JJ Kennerly makes this team, man, we going to have both Dejanay and JJ Kennerly on the same team. Defense is going to be absolute fire. Like, defense is going to be great. She's a 2-time Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. She could carve out a role on this team, possibly. It's not a lock that she actually makes this roster. I think it's going to be very tough for her to make this roster. But if she does, I think it could be really, really fun for her. This is someone who can score as well as play defense. And I'm just hoping that she has a solid chance, because she's another player that I'm like very, very big on. JJ Kennerly. I thought she was fantastic at West Virginia. And we'll see. It's going to be an uphill battle though. Very uphill battle for her to make this team. All right. Next up, we have Kayla Charles. She is a veteran player who has some experience, but does need to prove her value in order to actually make the roster. This is someone who was drafted in 2020. She was picked up by the Connecticut Sun. She spent a couple of seasons with the Sun, and ended up going to the Atlanta Dream for a hot second. And over that time, she's someone who has found a role and found a niche in the WNBA. We'll see ultimately if she's able to carve out a spot with the Dallas Wings. Okay, she has recently played in Hungary, because a lot of these players are playing overseas somewhere. But yeah, she recently played in Hungary, where she was averaging around 11 points a game. All right, next up we have Mackenzie Forbes, someone who was drafted last season by the Los Angeles Sparks. She was waived, so if she actually makes the roster this year, she will be a rookie, even though technically she was drafted in 2024. I think it's going to be an uphill battle. She's someone who has played in New Zealand this past offseason. It's going to be an uphill battle. I don't see her making this roster, but I think it's awesome that she's in the training camp roster, pool. I hope she has a chance, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very, very tough for her. Because again, like these players, sometimes it's an uphill battle trying to make a roster spot, especially as a rookie. All right, next up we have Madison Scott. Madison Scott from Ole Miss. This is someone who has a great motor. She can defend multiple positions. She can sneak, possibly. She can sneak on this team if Dallas kind of prioritizes some size at the wing spot. This is someone who last season for Ole Miss averaged around 11 points a game, and was on the SEC All-Second team. All right, let's get to some comments. Let's get to some quick comments, guys. Luis says, thanks so much for the super chat, says Paige, a small forward, and Ty the point. That could actually be pretty interesting. I think that could work, actually. Because here's the deal. Ty Harris can be a off-the-bench point guard. She could also be a starting point guard. Like, remember, guys, she's been starting for Connecticut, and she did a masterful job as a starter for Connecticut, in my opinion. Because remember, Ty Harris can knock down those threes. She can knock down those threes. But that could be pretty interesting. And I'm pretty sure at times that may be what Chris Koklanis ends up doing. But to start, I think that Paige is the point guard. All right, we have Aisha. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says the coach and GM said Ty was non-negotiable and he has a relationship with her family. I know. Thank you for that super chat. I know But I'm just saying, just maybe she's in, but like my Yamamoto is good. And like maybe she gives her a little run for her money. Is it likely? No. I just didn't think it was like the biggest of locks. Like Ty is in for sure, but is not as for sure as everybody else. And also because technically she's not on a guaranteed spot. But yes, both Chris Cole-Clannis and Kurt Miller absolutely love Ty Harris. And yes, it's not likely at all. It's like maybe 5% chance she gets cut. 5%, like maybe not even that. It's probably like 99%. Or it's probably like 1% chance she gets cut. Like she's making the team. It's just it's not as like 100% as the other people, because the other people were all on guaranteed contracts besides Paige Beckers, which you'd be crazy to cut her. So that's my logic. I don't know if that logic makes any sense. Tell me if it doesn't. Joyner Holmes is also another player on this team as well. She's a solid vet. She has some good size. She is someone who played for the Seattle Storm last season, playing around 27 games, average around 2.9 points, 1.8 rebounds a game. She's very familiar with the DFW area because she is a native of Dallas, Fort Worth. All right. She is fighting for one of those last remaining spots. I think it's gonna be difficult for her to make it, but I think she has a chance because again, veterans always kind of have, in my opinion, a little bit of an advantage to these younger players. Then next up we have Kiki Herbert Harrigan. She is a athletic wing. She is someone who was a former first round pick. She could possibly make this roster. Again, I just think it's going to be tough. She's bounced around on a couple of teams and will ultimately have to see what happens from here. All right, and then we finally have the two post players in Luisa Geisel-Solder. She is a European player who is very physical, but has a lot of raw talent. She's someone who will be arriving late due to overseas play. Now here's the thing. When I was talking earlier about players who get drafted and then they just don't come over and play. So Luisa was drafted by the Dallas Wings in 2020. She was drafted in 2020 to the Dallas Wings. And after she was drafted, she remained in Europe, just played basketball in Europe. And now, finally, she signed a training camp contract with the Dallas Wings this year. And likely she is coming over. I don't think she's arrived just yet. I know she was indicated as someone who's going to be coming late over to training camp. But this is an example of players who can get drafted and stashed, right? She was drafted by the Dallas Wings, and she just never came over after she was drafted in 2020. But now she's finally coming over to play. Now she will be competing against Arinette Vonleh. Arinette is a rookie center from Baylor, but before that she was at Colorado, which is where I became a fan of her. She is someone who, again, just has a lot of potential in the WNBA, right? This is someone who led Baylor in scoring this past season with 14.9 points a game. She shot a team high 58%. This is someone who can be at times a big spark for her squad, and ultimately she'll see what she can do in the WNBA. Again, uphill battle for her to actually make a roster spot. All right, continuing on. We already have one player who is already out. Lou Lopez-Sidisaw, it has already been announced that she will be missing the season, so the Dallas Wings have suspended her contract. They still keep her rights for next season. All right, so some question marks that the Dallas Wings have to answer, in my opinion. There's some question marks. First, can Paige Beckers and Arike coexist? Yes. I think the answer to that is yes, but that is a question that is being asked. That's a question that's being asked, but I think the answer ultimately is yes. Both are players who can work really well with the basketball in their hands. I do think they find a balance. I do think that Paige primarily plays that point guard role. Sometimes she may drop to that small forward position. I do like that suggestion about, Ty being the one at times, and Enrique the two, and Paige the three. That could be really interesting. But for the most part, I do see Paige as the starting point guard for this team. And both of them will play very well together. We'll see if I'm wrong or if I'm right. Another question is, which other rookie makes it? There is a chance that maybe only one other rookie will make it, maybe two, probably just one. Is it Isaiah James? I think she has the most likelihood that she can make it. Is it JJ Kennerly, Madison Scott, Aaronette Valet? Like, what other rookie is going to make something happen in training camp and ultimately get that starting spot? Also, who wins the backup point guard job? It's between Maya Yamamoto and Ty Harris. I think the winner for sure is going to be Ty Harris, but it's still a question mark, and I still wanted to just raise it just because. But I think that's going to be a very fun battle, because like Maya Yamamoto is very short. She's very short. I believe what I said, 5'5" earlier, but she has a lot of flair, and she's just fun. And Ty Harris is fantastic, vet who can just not do anything stupid on the court, who knows how to be physical in the WNBA, who knows how to knock down threes. At one year, there was 1 year where Ty Harris actually led the WNBA in 3-point field goal percentage, right? So that's a thing that's kind of cool. Also, another question mark is, can Dallas actually defend? Last year, Dallas was like sort of at the bottom when it came to defense. Dejanay Carrington severely helps. Possibly if JJ Kennerly makes this team, she could help as well. But others must absolutely step up in defending, not just scoring, but also playing some defense as well. Now, another question is, does this team go young, or do they hang on to vets, right? You got, a lot of veterans on this team, right? Holmes, Harrigan, Charles, they could all get squeezed out if some of these rookies rise and shine in training camp. Another thing, let's take a quick look at strengths and weaknesses. The strengths I see is a star backcourt potential. Like, you got Enrique and you got Paige Beckers. Like, it's gonna be a fun thing to watch. Also, you have a deep bench of rookies that have potential in the WNBA. Now, the question mark is, who makes the roster? Like, that's the thing. Also, a huge weakness is it's just a lot of non-chemistry. Like, the chemistry is just TBD. Like, how exactly does Tierra McCowan work in this new system for the Dallas Wings? I think she kind of has to start just because of how big she is. But like, how exactly does she work with the rest of the team? Like, how does everybody work? I don't know. I think there's a lot of question marks on both the backcourt and front court side in terms of overall chemistry, and also more 3-point shooting. That's something that you always need. Some of the camp battles to watch out for is Yamamoto and Yamamoto and Ty Harris. Another thing is to see what wings get in, right? Charles, Kennerly, Forbes, who's kind of making it in. For those last couple spots. And here's my projected roster. We have the starters as Enrique, Paige Beckers. So Paige at the 1, which is the point guard. That's a person who has the ball quite a bit. We have Dejanay Carrington at the small forward position. Enrique at the 2-guard position, the shooting guard position. Nalissa Smith as the starting power forward. Tierra McCowan as the starting center. All right. And for the bench, you got Maisha Hines-Allen, Maddie Siegrist, Isaiah James, Ty Harris, JJ Kennerly. If Louisa Geisel-Soder actually comes over to America, I think she makes the team. If she does not, Aaronette Valet possibly has an opportunity. And then the last position is a question mark. I don't know who would get that last position for the Dallas Wings. So those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. Yeah, we'll ultimately see what happens from here. Angie says, how much concern is it that players getting injured in training camp? It's a huge concern. I mean, you're always worried about players getting injured. I think that's always a concern. Always. Regardless of what team you are, regardless of if it's training camp or it's just during the regular season, injuries are always a thing. Injuries are always a concern. All right? Okay, guys, that is the stream. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. If y'all could, make sure to hit that like button if you actually appreciated the stream. If you did not, let me know why you did not in the comments below. Guys, I got to go because I got to go to work. And I will see y'all in the next one, guys. We have some more stuff to go through. As the days and weeks go on. So join me again tomorrow morning for another edition of Quita in the Mornings. All right, guys. This has been me, Quita. And we are in the morning. So good morning and have a great day. Bye-bye.